We're at our garage and test facility. Let's see what we're rolling out today. Just what the doctor ordered, a nice bright red German sports sedan. Well, kind of sporty anyway. It's got red paint, it's got to be sporty, right? And this is the Volkswagen Jetta. It says so right here, and they sent it all the way from Michigan just for us. An interesting surprise, it's not an automatic transmission, it's a good old-fashioned 6-speed manual. We'll be talking about that a little bit later. First thing we want to do when we get a vehicle is check and see if there's a spare tire under here. Yep, a little donut. Lots of storage space under here too. The next thing we want to do is take the headlights out in the dark and see how they function. You'd be surprised how many bad headlights there are on vehicles, especially the European brands for some reason. Looks like we've got 3 on each side. Bulbs, that is. Okay, it's dark enough. Let's see what these headlights do. Look pretty bright. These are low beams. And now the high beams. Here's a wall 100 feet away. The high beams on European cars always work great, so we'll try that first. And as you can see, the high beam is doing very well. Go to low beam. Aha. Here we go. Very bright, but very, very low to the ground. Typical, I won't say typical German European, because they're all not like that, but too many of them are. Let's go to a longer distance. And here on the streets, again, you can see how superior the high beams are on this German car, but on low beam, oh, cuts off in a slight dip. By the way, I like the clock that pops up on the info screen when it's turned off. Can't miss that time. And here's what the rearview camera looks like in the dark. This is a tiny screen, so we don't expect much. I see we picked up some dust on the camera lens, but overall still adequate. You'll see what's back there, that's what counts. And this is a pretty basic car, not many lights to look at. That's why you're only paying 25 grand. Fine with me. And here we have the brights on a fence 80 yards away. Building is 130 yards away. No problem with the high beams here. Go to low beam. Just barely reaches out. Again, adequate for city driving, but on the backcountry roads, you'll need the brights for sure. Bottom line, high beams, I give them an A+, but low beams, just barely adequate. And what the heck do we have here? Something on fire? Poisonous gas attack. Put on your gas mask coming from that building. Guess we get suffocated here. What the heck are they doing in there? And the guy doesn't even have a mask on. Alright. Under the hood is a base 1.4 liter, 177 horsepower turbo. We can upgrade to a 2 liter, 228 horsepower turbo. Transmission is listed 8-speed automatic, 7-speed automatic dual clutch, and 6-speed manual. We have the tiny 1.4 liter turbo with the manual transmission, rated at 30 mpg in the city, 41 on the highway, with an average of 34. We're going to take this out in the real world, see if those figures are true. We'll be doing lots of driving, so stick around. We're taking a close look at that manual transmission. I want to stick around for that too. The base price of a Jetta is 18 grand, but this is the R line, which has lots of standard equipment, so we bump it up to 24,290. Of course, you want that 2-liter engine, will cost you even more. And to call this a German car is half true. It's really made in Mexico, for those who care about those things. By the way, we also drove the 2021 Volkswagen Atlas SUV with the larger V6 engine. We'll have a link for that video at the end of this video. Just go to the end, click and watch. If you're interested in good miles per gallon, we have another import car, Hyundai Elantra, 51.6 mpg. We have a link for that video at the end of this video. So you're getting 3 tests for the price of 1. Let's take a look at the cabin, and in most Volkswagens I find the rocker panels are way too wide. You get a lot of dirt build up here, especially snow, rain, mud country. Gets on your legs, but weather's pretty good, so not a problem this week. Don't know why they do this, but they just do. Boys like Jetta interiors, very simple design, lots of room in the glove box, as you can see. A very, very big glove box for such a small car. Very simple climate controls, 3 knobs and a few buttons, the way it should be. A nice gauge cluster, and the glare isn't as bad as it looks. The sun's going down and it's right in our face, so you get a little bit of glare off this panel, but it's more on the camera than in person. Don't worry about it. Room for 2 adults in the second row seating. Alright, question of the day. Should you get the automatic transmission or the 6-speed manual? Back in the old days, many, many years ago, if you wanted a performance vehicle, the only choice was a manual transmission. The automatics were inefficient. They were slow, guzzled a lot of gas. You had to have a manual if you wanted to go in a hurry. Nowadays, pretty much the opposite is true. Automatic transmissions are far more efficient thanks to computers. As a rule, they're quicker. They get about 10% better fuel economy than a manual. A lot easier to drive in city traffic. On the other side of the coin, a manual transmission can be a lot of fun if you have a right engine, as in a sports car or a muscle car, or the Volkswagen Jetta with its 1.4-liter engine that just loves to rev to its 6,400 RPM redline. It's just begging for a manual transmission. If you like sporty driving or taking tight corners, this transmission might just be for you. As far as the unit itself, it's not the most precise I've ever used, but pleasant enough. Doesn't take much effort. I don't think anyone will complain. And the clutch pedal is light enough so it won't wear your leg out. Unfortunately, there are some problems with this I might want to mention. And that's the placement of the clutch pedal, which is extremely odd. To make a long story short, this is where your foot wants to be. And that's where the clutch pedal is, around 3 to 4 inches to the right, more than it should be. As a result, I've got to cross my legs more to the right than I prefer. Very awkward driving position. Just to make sure I wasn't imagining things, I did some measurements with the ruler, number 1. And number 2, I had a bunch of other people sit in this and got their opinion, and for those 6 feet tall and over, they had a real problem because with their foot on the clutch pedal, they were banging their knee on this here. Once again, proving this clutch pedal is located too far to the right, in our humble opinion. I find this kind of weird. I mean, Volkswagen's been making manual transmission cars since World War II. Why they want to place a clutch pedal in an awkward position like this, in our humble opinion, is a puzzle to me. In all fairness, I'm not saying this is a deal killer. In fact, after a couple of days of driving, I kind of got used to this left foot position. You might too. I'm just saying, go down to the dealer if you're interested in buying a 6-speed manual. Sit in the driver's seat, put your foot down there, and see what you think. If you don't have a problem with it, fine. If you do, maybe you'll adjust like I did. Not a deal killer, just a minor annoyance that needs mentioning. Pedal location aside, this vehicle is a lot more fun to drive with the manual than it is with the automatic. If you live where there are a lot of mountain curves and tight cornering, this gearbox is going to be a lot of fun. Also, Volkswagen is famous for their excellent suspensions. I've been driving this for a couple of days on the street. Steering's very quick and responsive. Not much feel, but still quick and responsive. That's pretty good for me. Comfortable ride, good handling. So let's take it on these 15-mile-per-hour speed bumps. See what happens. Bump number 1. Well, it's a short wheelbase car. We're going to give it a jumping around, but the shocks are doing a pretty good job of absorbing the impact. Here's number 2. Here's number 3. That was smooth enough. Here's the nasty one. Very good. No complaints. In mixed city commuting, I've been getting 26 miles to the gallon, which is pretty good considering I've really been thrashing this manual transmission and clutch system and making the engine rev to its best potential. This is a very fun car to drive. We'll take this out on the highway tomorrow. See if we can get the 40 mpg claimed, or is it 41? Hey, anything near that's pretty good. We're going to take this VW on a highway trip, see what type of fuel economy we can wring out of it. I think 41 mpg was the claim. We'll see if we can match that. I also have to add I'm very impressed with this vehicle on highway use. A great suspension, very nice ride, combination of ride and handling and stability. And I'm also impressed with this little engine. Naturally, I wanted the more powerful 2-liter, but I'm more than happy with this tiny one here. It's got lots of bottom end torque, plenty of passing power. So if we get some excellent fuel economy, there won't be any complaints from me. At 75 miles per hour in 6th gear, I'm pulling 2,000 RPM on the engine, in case anybody wants to know that fact. I don't know what it does with the automatic. I haven't driven one yet. Traffic is pretty crowded today, a lot of slow pokes and hypermilers, so I've had to do an awful lot of passing. Just the way it is, I'm in a hurry. A lot of things to do, so my fuel economy might not be as good as it could have been. I guess we'll find out soon enough. Alright, highway trip's over. Let's dip into the computer and see what numbers we pull up. Well, it's certainly better than the 41 claimed. Can't complain about that. Very impressive. I really like this engine even more. We're going to take a return trip, and I'll drive a bit slower this time to see if we can bump up the fuel economy numbers. I'm trying for 50 miles to the gallon, but, well, we'll see. We're coming to the end of the line. Should be interesting to see what our fuel economy is, and we never went under 75 miles per hour. Except at the moment now we're in the city. So it'll be very, very interesting to see what the end number is. There you go, 113 miles, cruising at 75 miles per hour plus, 50.7 mpg. Can't complain about that. Very impressive. Since cars with automatic transmissions generally do better than the vehicle with the manual transmission version, it'll be interesting to see what this Volkswagen would do with the 8-speed automatic gearbox, but I don't have one to compare, so I guess we'll never know. So what's my take on this little Volkswagen after a week of driving? As far as the clutch pedal location, I'm not going to harp about that. Take a test drive. Might work for you, just didn't work for me. I'm just mentioning it because that's what we do here, road test. As far as the rest of the vehicle, I'm very impressed. Nice engine, excellent suspension, decent quality, nothing fancy in the cabin, but more than adequate, very simple controls, decent quality. A very good buy for the money. Plus, if you're going to buy a German car, this is the way to do it. Free of all the gadgets and nonsense that might go wrong when the warranty goes out. Nice, simple transportation vehicle here. Coming up are links to other economical vehicles we've tested lately. Just go there and click and watch.